Hello friends, Wes here, checking in with a Vinyl Inbox Record Show edition. Had our what's now been recently twice annual record show here in Gainesville. Really cool show. I'm really glad we're having regular record shows here in town. Saves me from having to drive to Tampa or Orlando to go to a record show. Gets kind of expensive when you're spending, 30, 40 bucks in gas just to go to a record show. It's nice to have one in here in town where I can actually walk to it. It's so close, so that's awesome. Had a really awesome day. Got a lot of really cool things wanted to share with you. I'm going to try to put in some sound clips on these, on a couple of these anyway, just to give you an idea. I'm going to experiment with some really short sound clips just to see how the copyright thing goes with it. As I'd like to be able to share some of this music, some of this stuff that is more obscure. And yeah, so let's just go ahead and get into my record show finds. These first four here were from a seller that had $3 boxes, but they were also 2 for $5. So I bought 4, so $2.50 a piece on these first 4. The first thing I have here is from Christian Schutze. This is titled Metronomics on the Lifestyles label. From 1987. This is very much a sort of light jazz 80s kind of synthy, keyboardy kind of sound, along the lines of, say, a Jan Hammer kind of sound, I would say. The background music to Miami Vice kind of sound. A lot of drum machine programming, a lot of keyboards. Pretty nice, a nice sort of really cool, smooth kind of Sunday morning kind of sound here. Wasn't really sure what I was getting into on this, but thought I would grab it for $2.50 and give it a try. It looked interesting. So that's Metronomics from Christian Schultz. Second thing, here's some more electronic music. This is from Synergy, otherwise known as Larry Fast. Very awesome electronic musician, well known for making some really cool stuff in the 70s, and made the electronic realizations for rock opera, which is a killer piece. Very, very progressive electronic music here. This is from 1976 on Passport Records. And I actually already have one of these in the inbox, but the first pressings of most, if not all, of these Synergy records are on clear vinyl. And I'm not sure if the one I have in the inbox is on clear vinyl or not, but this one is. And for $2.50, I wasn't going to leave it behind. Really nice, clean copy. So awesome to add this to the collection. I don't think I showed the gatefold on that. Really cool photos and stuff, and the pictures of the synthesizers and stuff here, and yeah, really cool. So glad to have picked that up for $2.50. Next thing I got here, another one on the Lifestyle Records label. This is Dieter Schutz with Voyage from 1985. This one is a lot more spacey. It's really cool. I was glad I got this one. This is awesome. Very spacey electronic music. Very ambient, spacey electronic stuff here. Really enjoyed the samples I did of this. So yeah, that was an awesome find for $2.50. And my last pickup for $2.50 was classic here. It's Dark Side of the Moon. I picked this up for the cover alone. I haven't seen a cover this clean of this album in a long time. So for $2.50, I wasn't leaving it behind. The vinyl itself does have a few scratches on it, but it's actually not that bad. I have to compare it to my copy and see. I might do a sort of a Frankenstein version, or I might just keep both of them. I'm not sure yet, but for $2.50, just for the cover alone, this was worth it. And of course the gatefold. I think my gatefold had water damage, and I think it had some tears along the bottom here. So yeah, really cool to get a nice upgrade of that classic album. Not my favorite Pink Floyd album, but a favorite of many people and a classic. All right, next up I went to a seller that had a lot of great stuff. I was really happy to pick up these things. Seller, I've bought some stuff before at the Jacksonville Retro-Rama show. I think I bought some stuff from him there before. Always has very interesting bins and really enjoyed going through it. He had some really great stuff and some really great prices on some stuff that probably should have sold for more. The first thing I got here is a copy, another copy of this Duke Ellington and John Coltrane album that I've talked about before in the past. I haven't recently picked up a modern reissue of this. This is a 1980 reissue, so it's still not a gatefold. I'd love to have an original gatefold of this on impulse, but they're just kind of expensive. But this at least would probably be an analog version of this album. Of course, features the track In a Sentimental Mood on it, which I love. This is just on the Rainbow MCA label. And that was $5. So yeah, classic album there, and I'm glad to have added a more vintage version of this into the collection for not too much money. And then these next two albums I picked up from him were just killer scores. He had a lot of the Mondo Recordings reissues or sort of issues of soundtracks, several of them, and I probably should have bought more, but this one is one I definitely wanted to have, and that is the soundtrack to the movie Gravity. Movie I love, a really great soundtrack. Really cool to find this, and I'm glad I picked this up. $12 he had this marked at. $12. That's ridiculous. This is like $40-50 at least. So $12 to be able to pick this up is just killer. This is not one of the colored vinyl versions. They did randomly have some colored vinyl versions. This is just 2 LPs on black vinyl, but still sounds really nice. And this next one is another killer find I got from this seller, way underpriced again in my opinion, but that is the most recent album from Florence and the Machine, How Big, How Blue, How Beautiful, from 2015. He had this marked at $8, and this sells for $35 new, which is the reason why I haven't added it to the collection yet. I have her first 2 albums on vinyl, but for some reason this one's $35, and just I haven't found a good price on it until now. But for $8, yeah, absolutely. It does come with a fold-out lyric sheet here, some photos of her, Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. Just 2 LP set on black vinyl. So yeah, to be able to pick up this for $8, I was really pleased, and that was an awesome find. Glad I found that. Next up, couldn't miss out on picking up adding some more Bowie to the collection. Getting harder to find. There is some price gouging going on with David Bowie stuff right now. But this one was very reasonably priced at $7. This is his album Lodger. Released in 1979. Bowie album I am not yet familiar with, but I'm going to be soon. There's the gatefold on it. Yeah, $7 I thought was a very fair, reasonable price for this album. In really nice shape, really clean. And then lastly, I got a stack here of dollar bin records. There's a seller that always shows up to this show that has some really great dollar bins for me particularly, because there's just a ton of 80s stuff in there and some more obscure kind of stuff, and I just really always end up finding a lot in these dollar bins. So let's go ahead and get into these dollar records. First thing I have here is the soundtrack to Party Party. I think I may possibly have one of these in the inbox already. I'm not sure. But this one just has a ton of great artists on here. You got Elvis Costello, Sting, Bananarama, Madness. So glad to pick that up for $1. Next thing I have here is Men Without Hats. This is Folk of the 80s Part 3, 1984 on this one. Gold stamp promo on that one. The Party Party was a gold stamp promo as well. Picked up this Supertramp album, Free as a Bird, from 1987. I'd never seen this Supertramp album before. I did just listen to the first side of this morning. Yeah, it's not very good. I can see why this probably didn't sell very well and why I don't see it very often, but I do want to hear all the Supertramp stuff. And this one's gold stamp promo also. So that was a really cool find. Next up we have a comp here called The Sound of Deep Ellum. Deep Ellum is I guess a neighborhood of Dallas, Texas. So you got a lot of groups from that area here. Reverend Horton Heat is on here. Let's see here. New Bohemians. Those are the only two groups that I briefly recognize on here, but some just some really cool music here, and I definitely wanted to grab that for $1. Check that out. Once again, gold stamp promo. These next two are duplicates. They were both sealed. I've cracked one open already. That is another compilation here. This is a compilation of Gainesville music, or North Central Florida, Northern Florida musicians from the early 80s, from 1983 is when this was done, called the Sinkhole Tapes. This was done by the local music store Hide and Zeke Records. They briefly had a record label. I've talked in the past about the band Transform that was on this label. I believe that was the only other release they ever did, was the Transform album and this album. So really cool compilation of early 80s local artists here. So there are some more power pop kind of stuff on here. There's a bit of new wave on here. There's a bit of just straight ahead folk rock kind of stuff here. Really cool sort of blending of local artists. So love to have this, and glad to have found these.
Too much sun. Drive your car on Daytona Beach. Come on here, Junior. We both know the way. Let your feet.
Next up on the MCA Master Series, we have Robert Greenidge and Michael Utley. This is titled Mad Music. Kind of another interesting piece of 80s sort of sort of jazzy, new agey kind of sound. You have steel drum mixed with synthesizers and drum machines. Kind of an interesting sound. Not totally digging this one, but an interesting piece to check out. Once again, a gold stamp promo. And also on, I don't think it's going to show up here, but audiophile grade vinyl. So that was a neat pickup for $1 just to try. Album here on the Embera Recording Company out of Charlotte, North Carolina. This is Jim Brock with Pasajes, I guess is how it's pronounced. Some 80s fusion jazz stuff here. This is actually the only release ever on this label according to Discogs. It has a nice sound to it. Very, again, very 80s fusion jazz sound here. This is another one that was sealed. This is Peter Meringer and Michael Weiser, Beamscape, from 1984 on the Innovative Communications label. This is some ambient electronic work. Very spacey, again, very awesome. Really digging this one a lot. The sampling I've done of this so far has just been killer. Yeah, this was definitely a find for me. Definitely enjoyed getting this. Next up, I got an EP from a band called Spot. This is titled Cut a Wide Swath. Didn't really know what I was getting into on this. The main reason I bought this is because I was digging through and this started to poke out a bit and I saw this. So yeah, I saw that and I was like, that is just killer. I gotta have that for $1. No way I'm leaving that behind. So yeah, this is very 90s alt-rock kind of sound. Very brash, very loud, very 90s sounding. I like some of the music on here. It gets better the further you get into this. The opening track, the title track, Cut a Wide Swath, is the worst in my opinion. I like the other ones. The other songs are a little more mellow, a little better sounding. But yeah, just for the vinyl alone, I had to grab this for $1. Next up on TVT Records, we got The Jam, aka The Time Lords with Burn the Beat, 12-inch. Of course, KLF here. Nice little 12-inch there. Next up, we got Robert Palmer with Heavy Nova. I'm kind of a closeted Robert Palmer fan. I don't know why. I just love his music, love his voice. Just enjoyed it. Just sort of reminds me of the 80s, and I like a lot of his music. And don't have a whole lot of it on vinyl, so I thought I needed to go ahead and pick this up since it was $1. Really nice copy of that. Another sealed one. I haven't even opened this one up yet. This is the soundtrack to Made in Heaven. This is from 1987. You got REM is on here. Rick Ocasek. Mark Isham does some of the instrumental pieces on here. The Buffalo Springfield are on here. Not even sure what this movie was about. I don't remember this movie at all, but I'll have to dig into that and check out the soundtrack and maybe check out the movie as well. So I got that. And last but not least, the dollar bin pickups. Got another promo here. This is the copy of Baltimorea's Living in the Background. This one has Tarzan Boy on it. Of course, their one big hit. Another gold stamp promo here. So yeah, that's going to do it for the Record Show Haul for 2016. At least the spring edition. Hopefully there'll be another one in the fall. There usually is. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed checking out some of the samples from these albums. Just got word that there was an offer on this put in on this house we're renting this past weekend, and so we're gonna have to be out of here by the end of April. So sort of going into next month, probably going to be less videos for a while we get ready to move and get moved and get settled into the new place. But hopefully be able to bring you some videos here and there and keep you updated on what's going on. And once we get settled into the new place, be able to make a lot more videos and again. And so yeah, that's it. That's going to do it. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day, great night, whatever it is. Please subscribe, leave me some comments, and we'll see you again next time. Cheers.